Continue human capital formation. Human capital and human development. Human capital consider education and health as a means to increase labor productivity. So, education and health that leads to increased labor productivity. According to human development, education and health are integral to human well-being because only when people have the ability to read and write and ability to lead a long and healthy life, they will be able to make other choices which they value. Human capital treats human being as a means to increase in productivity. So in this human capital that will treats human being as a means to increase the productivity. Any investment in education and health, it's unproductive. When it will be unproductive? If it does not enhance any output of goods and services. According to the human development, human beings are ends in themselves. Human welfare should be increased through investment in education and health, even if such investment do not result in higher labor productivity. So, according to human development perspective, every individual has a right to get basic education and basic health care, irrespective of their contribution to labor productivity. It means every individual has a right to be literate and lead a healthy life. So, next move on to need for government intervention. We need government intervention for few things. See, the expenditure on education and health assume great importance on the formation of human capital. So, it is very important that such expenditure provide positive result. To ensure favorable benefit, government intervention is most important because of following reasons. Now, we'll discuss what are the following reasons. The first one, the expenditure on education and health make substantial long-term impact and they cannot be easily reversed. See, for example, if a child is admitted to a school or healthcare center or required services are not provided in such institute, then substantial amount of damage would have been done before the decision is taken to shift the child to other institution. The second point, individual consumer of the services do not have complete information about the quality of services and their cost. Third point, the providers of education and health services may acquire monopoly power and may get involved in exploitation. So for all such reasons, we need a government intervention. Let's move on to regulatory authority. In this regulatory authority, the ministries of education at the union and state level, departments of education and various organizations like National Council of Educational Research and Training, NCERT, University Grants Commission, UGC, and All India Council of Technical Education, AICTE, regulate education sector. In health, the ministries of health at the union and state level departments of health and various organizations like Indian Council for Medical Research, ICMR, regulate the healthcare. So, the third point, basic education and healthcare fundamentals rights of every citizen. In a developing country like India, a large section of the population lives below the poverty line and are unable to afford basic education and healthcare facility. When basic education and healthcare is considered as a right of the citizen, then it is essential that the government should provide education and health services free of cost for the deserving citizen and those from the socially oppressed classes. So, both the union and the state government have been raising expenditure in the education sector over the year in order to fulfill the objective of attaining 100% literacy and health facilities for all. Yes, so those points which come under in a regulatory authority. Now, let's move on to the other one. Education sector in India. Yes, So growth in government expenditures on education. The first point, as a percentage of total government expenditure, during 1950 to 2014, it increased from 7.92 to 15.7. As a percentage of GDP, that is gross domestic product, during 1952 to 2014, it increased from 0.64 to 4.13. The increase in education expenditure has not been uniform. Now, let's discuss with some of the important points about government expenditure. The points which cover the government expenditure. The first point, government spends more on elementary education. Expenditure on tertiary education is important. Differences in education opportunities across states. Inadequate expenditure on education. Provision of free and compulsory education. The first point, government spend more on elementary education. Elementary education, primary and middle school education takes a major share of total education expenditure. So, a share of higher or a tertiary education, which are institute will come under a tertiary education like college, polytechnics and universities in the least. Second point, expenditure on tertiary education is important. On an average, government spends less on tertiary education. However, expenditure per student in tertiary education is higher than that of elementary education. It does not mean that financial resources should be transferred from tertiary to elementary education. As we expand school education, we need teachers who are trained in the higher educational institution. So, expenditure on all level of education should be increased. The third point in the government expenditure, differences in educational opportunities across states. In 2014 to 15, the per capita education expenditure differs considerably across states from as high as Rs 34,651 in Himachal Pradesh as low as 4,088 in Bihar. So, this leads to differences in education opportunities and attainment across states. The fourth point, inadequate expenditure on education. The expenditure on education is very less as compared to the desired level of education expenditure, which were recommended by the various commission. More than 40 years ago, the Education Commission from 1964 to 66 has recommended that at least 6% of GDP should be spent on education, but the current level's expenditure is little over 4%, which is quite inadequate. The last point in the government expenditure, provision of free and compulsory education. The Tapas Majumdar Committee, operated by the Indian government in 1998, estimated an expenditure of around rupees 1.37 lakh crore over 10 years, that is from 1998 to 1999, 2006 to 2007, to bring all Indian children in the age group of 6 to 14 years under the purview of school education. So in 2009, the Government of India enacted the Right to Education Act, that is free education, a fundamental right of all the children in the age group 6 to 14 years. And apart from that, Government of India has started levying 2% education on all union taxes. So the revenue from education has been marked for spending on elementary education. So, the government sanctioned a large outlay for the promotion of higher education and new loan schemes for students to pursue higher education. So, these are the points which come under in important points about government expenditure. So, in today's class, we have discussed about human capital and human development, need for government intervention, and which are the departments and various organizations of regulatory authority, and what is the role of health, and then what are the basic education and healthcare and education sector in India, and what are the important points about government expenditure. Yes?